thanks to our most amazing Vice Chancellor, one of the most amazing human beings, an amazing teacher, who has reminded us our focus should not be on disease but on health. Pathogenesis, you will learn, is the focus on what are the factors causing disease. But what we are looking at, what are the factors that enable you to be healthy, to have a sense of well-being, wellness, and to be the best you that you can be. And we are guided by our most amazing director, Professor Madan Mohan sir, who has come in, and you will meet him from the physiology angle also. Sir is the one who has enabled the integration of yoga in modern medicine, right from his time in Chikma and now continuing it here. And you will get a lot of chance to get guided by Sir as we are. So, the Faculty of Allied Health Sciences in our university, headed by, again, a very amazing human being, an inspiring example, Professor Ananda Krishnan, Sir, AK Sir as we lovingly call him. You will get to, again, I'm sure you have already met him, and no, not yet. You will meet a real human being when you meet him. A person who is an example of how you can enable others to be the best they are. So here, we are focusing on bringing together the ancient experiential wisdom of yoga with evidence-based approach of modern medical science. Yoga is an Anubhava Shastra. It is an experiential path. You have to experience it. You cannot, it's like eating a pizza. How many of you like to eat pizzas? How many of you like to have ragi malt? Pizzas had about 25 times the number of hands going up. Doesn't it tell you something about the choices we make? We know, yet choice. Now, if I ask you, what does it feel like to eat a pizza? You say, sir, it feels like this, it feels like that. But if I really want to know what it feels like to eat a pizza, what do I need to do? Come on, you're not sleeping. What do I need to do? Eat it. There is no way to know what a pizza feels like until and unless I eat it. Well, yoga is like that. If you want to know about yoga, you have to practice it. And again, before you think that yoga is something you do 10 minutes in the morning or 15 minutes in the evening, it's 24 hours. That's what I'm trying to bring today. Good health and well-being, it is priceless. We are running the rat race. We are in a dog-eat-dog world. And ultimately, who wins the rat race? Who wins the rat race? A rat. And in a dog-eat-a-dog world, which dog is left standing at the end? Only the dog. Now we are human beings, right? Or at least we look like human beings. We are supposed to be human beings. We are supposed to think like human beings, live like human beings, which means we need to focus on how to live to the best of our ability. Otherwise, what happens is we keep on rushing forward, and by the time you are 45, 50, you have all the money you want, you have all the degrees you want, you have all the positions you want, and then what happens? All of that you have earned gets used to pay the hospitals. Surgeries are not cheap, okay? Especially when it gets into the heart and replacement. I'm a doctor, but I would like to focus on keeping people away from medicine. William Osler, the father of modern medicine, said, the best doctor is the one who can convince people they don't need medicine. Whereas today the best doctor is one who gives the most injections. Give one here, one there, one here, one there, you become the best doctor. Now see, you are at the start of your career. Please remember, medicine is an art. For that art, you have to have a heart. You have to feel. You have to have empathy. But then, it cannot be blind. It is a science also. So medicine is an art, it is a science. You need to know how to help people. And then ultimately, the business of medicine is the last part, where you make a living out of it. But remember, the business part should be the last one. The art, the science, and then the business. So, good health and well-being are priceless, whereas ill health and disease are a curse. And I just want to ask you a simple question. What is the difference between wellness and illness? What is the difference between wellness and illness? W-E-L-L-N-E-S-S. I-L-L-N-E-S-S. What is the difference? One has I-E, the other has V. Okay? If we are only thinking of I, what can I get? How can I get more? Well, illness is on its way. Separation. Illness is separation. We, when we start to understand we are all one. When we start to understand that we are part of a family, we are part of a society. You as a student are part of this college. This college is part of a university. This university is part of something bigger. When we start to understand that we are part of something, we all make a complete picture. That's when wellness can happen. And that is what yoga tries to give us. A perspective that looks at the integration of everyone rather than separation. And that is why yoga is defined as union. Now, this state of well-being has physical, emotional, mental and spiritual dimensions. And we need to understand yoga is primarily a way of life, how we live. And this is where the choice is ultimately ours. We need to resolve if we are healthy, to stay healthy, and if not healthy, to restore our health. Lifestyle modifications, which have become the key word today, because non-communicable diseases, lifestyle disorders, psychosomatic disorders are the pandemic of the world today. And increasing. Day by day, every moment we are increasing the load. Now, if you want to combat lifestyle disorders, you need to change or modify lifestyle. Because you cannot say, I want to eat my pizza, but I will not exercise. You eat your pizza, but exercise to make sure you burn up those calories. I have no issues with that. But if one day you eat a pizza, make sure you also balance with your greens and your fruits on another day. See, the thing is, conscious healthy choices is where we make it. I'm not saying you have to let go of everything and become a sannyasi and live in the forest. You don't have to. But if you are not conscious, you will keep on loading your system. That load will result in disease. And the lifestyle modifications are natural, effective and safe. They go along with modern medicine. You can be having your antihypertensive medication, you can be having your diabetic medication, and also lifestyle modification. It's not that if I do lifestyle, I don't need that. If I do this, I don't need that. They can work together. They work together very effectively, in fact. And they should be the basis of our public health policy. And because our doctors are not trained in this, this university, this college has taken the initiative to be a leader in making sure that you all listen to some of these crazy thoughts like mine. What is yoga? It is defined as union of body, emotions and mind, or at the spiritual aspect, the Jivatma with the Paramatma. I will leave Jivatma Paramatma. It is that sense of we rather than I. That is the most important union. Skill in action. When you are skillful in your action, it is also yoga. And controlling or stilling the whirlpools of the mind is constantly agitated, and calming it down. Unity of thought, word and deed. What you think, you say, and what you say, you do. Well, that is an integrated personality, a wholesome personality, a healthy personality. And that is what we want. equanimity of mind, being able to balance praise with blame. Somebody comes and says, you have passed an exam, you are happy. Somebody comes and says, you have failed. Well, maybe I didn't work well enough, let me work better. Rather than, the system is bad, my examiners are bad, my parents are bad, the government is bad, the college is bad, but I am good. A tendency of us to shift the blame to everybody but ourselves. In yoga it says, first look at your goal. Anything happening to you, good, bad, ugly. What was your part in it? And when you understand that, you become a better human being. That is why it is conscious evolution. We have evolved over the millions of years from the oceans up to where we are today as human beings. The next evolution is not to have 2 extra hands or 2 extra legs or an extra eye. It is the conscious evolution where we move from being a mere human or looking like a human to becoming a humane being who has the qualities of humanness and manifesting our divinity itself. Yoga gives us 8 limbs. They are called the Ashta Anga. And the first and second are the morality and ethics, living as a good human being. Then you have asana pranayama, that are body postures and breath techniques through which you control the vital energy, life energy, prana. You then have dharana and dhyana, concentration, taking you into a state of meditation that finally can become a state of absorption or oneness. Sama Adi is a state of oneness where you are completely at ease. There is no duality. One of the biggest, largest Upanishads in our country, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, says that fear, bhaya, comes from a sense of duality. And it is from that same sense of duality comes disease. When I feel that you are different than me, when my mind and body think they are different from each other, at that point disease starts. Disease is duality. Health is non-duality. And you can see here, the Yama Niyama, the first 2 levels, they help us in developing our social health. How do we relate in the society? The pranayama, the asanas, the physical health, the dharana, the pratyahara dharana, that is the sensory withdrawal and the concentration on mental, and then dhyana samadhi, you would call it spiritual health. So the social, physical, mental and spiritual, all aspects of our health. There are components in yoga that help. These help directly here, but they also will help here. So it is not a watertight compartment, but just for the sake of understanding. Advantages of yoga include that it is preventive, promotive and maybe curative if the patient comes early enough. It's a science, philosophy and art, involves body, mind and spirit. And when you do the yoga practices, you have what are called positive side benefits. Somebody comes because they have hypertension, they start doing the yoga and now they can sleep better. They didn't start it because they couldn't sleep. They started for the hypertension but now can sleep better. A student comes and says, I have asthma. They start to do the yoga, the asthma gets a bit more managed. But along with that, that academic performance improves. So these are the positive side benefits. Because one of the major issues you will come back as a doctor in the future are the undesirable side effects coming from our medications. Every medicine we give, well, we start to produce a side effect and then the patient stops taking the medicine. So if we can reduce the side effects and give these positive side effects, benefits, we will enhance compliance of the patient taking the medicine also. And of course, the cause of most diseases, psychosomatic, which we call Adija Vyadi, starting the mind and above, well, yoga addresses those. I will keep this for another day when we will discuss how you get stressed and start to hurt yourself. But what I want you to understand is that basically you have 3 systems that interplay, major system. The nervous system, your endocrine and your immune. All of you are biology students, you have heard of these, so I thought I might as well tell you about it. Now what happens is when you have stress, it is going to affect all of these in a negative manner. The nervous system is affected, the endocrine is affected, immune, and they keep on going in a circle, becoming a spiral, and they keep on churning, and ultimately we end up with mental and physical illnesses. Now what is yoga doing? Yoga is trying to reverse this process. And I think yoga works on the nervous system, the endocrine and the immune system, and by trying to reverse it, we are looking at possible health. And this is where yoga as the integration and reintegration and the yoga therapy as the tools we use to produce that integration and reintegration. Now when we talk about bringing yoga into your life, there are 4 components. One is the acha, which is the healthy physical activities and exercise, which are the healthy thought patterns, attitudes that we use. Aha, healthy nourishing diet. As I said, ragi malt. Now you know why I was talking of that. Fresh water, fresh food, green salads. Again, made by someone who loves you, okay? That is why always mom's cooking is always the best. You may not know it when you are there, but if you come to the hostel for 1 month, you will start to appreciate your mother's cooking much better. Not just this hostel, all hostels. And we have proper recreational activities. So, physical activities, thought patterns, diet, and relaxational activities. All 4 need to be changed. You need to be conscious of them if you are looking at health. And that is why yoga looks at 24 hours, 365 days. How do you eat? How do you sleep? How do you relax? How do you do your work? How do you relate with others? All of this is yoga. And along the way we try to relax ourselves, calm down the breathing. We are going to today introduce a few of these practices to you. Because the moment you calm down your breathing, your mind starts to calm down. You know, whenever you are upset or tense, what do they say? Take a deep breath and count to 10. You know what it does? It puts a brake on the fast running mind. Your emotions when you are really upset, simplest thing. You feel better. Let's try it out, okay? Just sit straight wherever you are. Sitting straight is important for energy. Okay? Yeah. Now, close your eyes. Don't worry, I am not going to punch you in the nose. Okay? Because ahimsa is the first rule in yoga. So you have a guarantee I will not punch you. Okay? Now just breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. Can you shoot the arrow? You need balance. That balance, tension of the string is so important. Like that, we human beings, we need balance. And so now and then, I'm not suggesting 24 hours a day you should go around ha 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 ha. Okay, but once in a while. And that is why we need to laugh. We need to give a belly laugh. They say laughter is the best medicine. Munnago MBBS and Vasul Raja. Laughter is the best medicine. Everybody Vaidyam. What is the meaning is that let go, don't be so serious. What are you being so serious about? Seriously. There are times to be serious. When you are writing an exam, you want to be serious for sure. You don't want to goof off. But you don't have to be serious in the morning as soon as you get up. You don't have to be serious while you are eating. You don't have to be serious while you are walking. Come on, how much of seriousness can you tolerate? So once in a while, what do? You let go. Ha! Now from sitting, let us try it. Okay? Every time you see me in this college from now on, you have to put your hand here and go, ha! Okay? And I will be harder for lagging you. Well, I can always call it yoga. I'm just joking about it. Okay? can do joke about these things like this. Put your hand here, raise it, up. Now. That is good. I feel so, you get energy, you get stamina. This is where the stamina comes from. This is where your endurance comes from. People say, Dr. Ananda, how do you manage so many things? I say, well, once in a while I go, ha! And I get the energy. And most people you say, go hard again, they put the energy out. Ha! Breathe in, out. Ha! In, out. Ha! In, out. Ha! In, out. Ha! In, ha! See, when you laugh, it breaks the ice. Laughter is the way to break the ice. Why do we want to be so frozen? Why do we want to be so stuck in our habitual patterns? Because if you keep on doing the same thing again and again and again and again, it's like, if somebody keeps on going round in circle like this all the time, ultimately what do? They dig their own grave. And then all you have to do is put some sand and say, rest in peace. Because this is what is happening. You are doing the same crazy thing again and again. So what do we say? Once in a while, step out of it. Go off on a tangent. That's where the energy comes from. Now we will do one more practice, which I am sure you will all enjoy. Is that we have a lot of stresses that are stuck up with us. We have gone through your 12th standard, and I really admire all of you for coming out alive. Because it is such. Don't ask me about the modern education system, okay? Please don't. Because what is the strain and the stress being put on the students and on the parents and on society, and I don't know actually what we are trying to achieve, okay? Now when you come here, you're going to find something very different. You're going to find that college life is the other end of the spectrum to school life. And we have a lot of innovations, amazing innovations that Mahalakshmi ma'am has brought in, Bharata sir has brought in, and you're going to be learning to think, not just what's in this book and put there. You're going to learn to apply it. And that is where you become a doctor. It's not just knowing what's in the book. What does that person need? What is the appropriate solution at that point of time? And that is what you're going to be learning. If you choose to. If you choose to go off, you don't. Okay? But if you choose to learn, you are in a place where there are a lot of innovations coming in. You are lucky here with amazing professors. Many of them, I have been students of them. And they are all amazing. Most of them, Mahalakshmi Madam has been students of Bharata sir. I think may have been a student of some of them. Amazing professors. But you have to want to learn, okay? They say you can take a horse to the water, you cannot make it drink. But you know what a horse once told? You can give the human being all the books you want, but you cannot make them think. That is the horse's perspective of that. And I think the horse's perspective is more true, that you can get a horse to drink water, but you cannot get a human being to think. Because thinking has to come from within. You have to choose to think. And if you are so bottled up with all your stresses, you think you can think. I just ask you a simple question. Do you all think you think? Yes or no? Even that is very bad. Come on, seriously. See, with me you can answer, okay? Do you think you think? Hopefully yes. Hopefully yes, okay, fine. What do we think normally? What do we think we think? I think I am hungry. I think I need to go to the restroom. I think I need to go on holiday. I think, yes for that. I think Dr. Ananda should stop now. I think, you know what, I think I need to get up. I think I need to lie down. Please remember, none of those are thoughts at all. You feel hungry, you are giving it a very nice outer polishing coat, suit, boot, and saying that I think I am hungry. You are just hungry, that's all. You try to give it legitimacy by saying, I think I am hungry. You are sleepy. You say, I think I am sleepy. You are bored. I think I am bored. Now you take all of those so-called false thoughts out of it. And now start to analyze how many times a day are you actually thinking. When you are coming in the door, and you see somebody going in and you just stop 1 second to let that person go in before you have had a thought. When you feel like eating your pizza and you say, this is not so good for me, maybe I should have a salad instead. Maybe you have had a thought. But then go ahead and eat the pizza. Huh?
Maybe
Ragi malt. Yes. See, I'm not against pizzas. I also eat pizzas, okay? But what I'm saying is, let us be conscious of the choices we make. Let it not just become an unnatural, unconscious, habitual pattern. Those unnatural, unconscious, habitual patterns are what kill us. And if you want to live, you have to make conscious choices. You have to think. Thinking as a human being is when you realize what is going on around you and you adapt and you respond. Not react, but you respond. Reaction is when you kick me, I kick you. That is reaction. Response is when I know whether I should kick you back or not. And again, response is even better. When you kick me, to move is response. So I don't let you kick me. Rather than you kick me, I kick you. That is reactionary behavior. So we have a lot of stresses in us. We want to let go of them. We said, decrease your stress level, fortifying yourself against the omnipresent stressors. You cannot wish the stress away, but you can change your response to it. Your perception to it you can change. And one of these days I'll talk to you about that. So now what we are going to do is very simple. Again, I'm going to have you all stand up. So please stand up. And we are going to start loosening up our tensions by shaking the right hand. Please note I said right hand. I want to make sure all of you are shaking your right hand because as doctors, if you operate on the left instead of the right, you know what happens from the movie Genes, right? Okay, fine. We get all our knowledge from Genes, right? Who said Anbe Shiva? Kamal Haasan, yes, that's it. Kamal Haasan told Anbe Shiva. Anbe Shiva comes from Tirupolas, Tirumantharam. Okay. Left hand. Give a nice shake. Your hands are tight. You are writing a lot. You have been writing a lot. You are going to write a lot. You use your computers a lot. And as Narayanan sir was saying, please keep a backup. Please keep a backup because Murphy's law says whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Okay? And it will go wrong at the most inappropriate time. Just before your presentation, that's why I always try to keep a backup of my presentations. Again, right? I shake, come on. I'm just asking you to shake your hand, not give me 10,000 rupees or anything, right? Come on. Okay, now left hand, beautiful. Now both hands together. Wow, as fast as possible. As fast as possible. Nice shake, good, very nice. Now shake as fast as possible. And now catch hold of all your tensions. Get a good grip on them. Take in a deep breath. And throw it out. See, very simple. Whenever somebody irritates you, just do. Whenever you are bored or you don't like something, this is a gesture that I don't want to keep that junk within me. I don't want to poison my system. I don't want stagnant waters.